So the next one, might as well get this out of the way. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this one or not because it's a little bit, I don't want to say occultish. It's a little new agey. There is science behind it though, so if I focus on only the science, because you know how the old Japanese were, they couldn't understand if it was magic. But then the ninja started using fire and explosives way before anyone else, and when they saw this, they're like, holy crap, there's got fire coming out of his face, or whatever, whatever it was. So the idea is, we talk once in a while about ki and glass. Some of our breathing exercises is to build up ki or to lower the ki, or taking ki strikes, building up ki that way, or whatever. Now the Chinese, or chi, they call it chi. The Chinese and the Japanese alike, I guess, both have a supernatural outlook of ki. It's magic. What is it really? Scientific. And there are some Japanese people who are martial artists and scientists or medical doctors, and they understand it's not mumbo jumbo anymore. But some people today would still think it's crazy, right? So we have to be careful. There's no magic. It's not crazy. Ki, to me, and how I understand it, ki is energy. All our bodies always produce energy. We have nerve endings, nerves that transmit energy, a flow of energy. Sometimes the blood even, like if you're starting to get choked out, you're losing your consciousness, there's a loss of energy there, in a way. And in another sense, an electromagnetic field in our bodies. Or maybe you could even say thermal energy, where you put out heat. No light though, as far as I know. Actually, I shouldn't say that.
Bioluminescence.
I shouldn't say that. There's a whole the aura thing, which is a totally different topic, but
which is still kind of in that same electromagnetic field.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and also in the same field of being supernatural. So, and I'm totally against occult stuff, so we're not talking about that when we're talking about the science. So, the first exercise to explore this, I don't think you guys have ever done it. I've done it with people before, but if anyone here did, it would be you, but I still don't think so. I think this is...
Was that the auras?
Nope. This is the one where you feel the energy with your hands.
Yeah,
No. And maybe some of you have done this before anyway, so. So the first one, to prove it, the Saki test is another example. Although some people claim they hear it. But even if you hear it, it's awfully fast to hear. Or some people hear it in slow motion. You know about this test, right? No? He doesn't know about it.
Yeah, I don't think he was around last time I did it. I hear it, but you can also feel the pressure.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Before. But I said when I hear it, it's that initial movement.
Yeah.
If I think twice about it, then I've already taken the hit, so.
Yes, it's you can't double.
Second guess yourself?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was looking for. Second guess. You can't double guess. So the idea of this test is for your 5th degree black belt. You kneel down with your eyes closed, and a teacher, usually a Japanese shikan, with his eyes closed, and this used to be with a real blade, but they don't do that anymore, sticks. And his eyes closed, or they start on your shoulders or something, and anytime they lift off your shoulder, the test is begun. Now you can't see, you're both eyes closed, so that neither one of you can cheat or anything like that. And he stops for a second, and then he tries to hit you on the head, and you have to move out of the way. Only after he begins moving. If you move too soon, you fail, and if you get hit on the head, you fail.
So you just have to sense that it's happening.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to get clear of it. It just has to be. You have to be moving before the blade gets to you.
Basically, yeah. It used to be very cut and dry, like you have to totally roll out of the way. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But nowadays, if you just fall over, that's
all
good
the new
enough.
videos tend to just kind of, it's that, or they just kind of hop on one knee and turn and look. And
Yeah. Yeah. there's lots of video. If you look it up on YouTube, there's tons of videos of it. Anyway, and when the guy is swinging down, he has to project a murderous intent. So if he's your buddy, he's kind of smiling when he does it, it's not going to work. Because you literally have to be in danger. And we've talked before about this. You may have experienced sitting on a couch. Maybe you're playing a video game and there's a walk area behind your couch and someone walks by. You do this because you feel they're going to hit you. That's it. Whether they hit you or not. You still sensed it? Kids have a good sense of this. They always flinch and stuff. And cats. That's why I said they're crazy.
They like on each other. Aw.
Yeah, they're so friendly though, when size not around.
He wasn't just scared.
So the first exercise to explore this is okay. You have to prep it by shaking your hands. Have you seen this one before?
Should I take my watch off? Or?
You can. You don't have to. So, but you want to shake them very vigorously to the maximum capacity on each side, like a ragdollish. More than that. Harder.
Shake the blood clear out of him.
Then when I say stop, just do it to yourself first, but I want you to, don't stop, I'm going to stop, but you don't. You're going to stop and go close and far and see what you feel. Ready? Go! You should feel an increase in buzzing and a decrease in buzzing when you move away. That's your own energy, your own key that you can feel. And shaking your hands just makes it more sensitive for temporarily.
I feel like heat.
There's heat too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's heat and
Kind of a
tingle. Yeah.
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 Like a very small electrical
Yeah.
Yes.
charge.
And it's
Yeah. So the next time I want you to do it again, but maybe with someone else. Go hand to hand with them. Because their frequency, whatever, might be different. He might be running at 60 hertz, and you might be running at 50. I'm just saying. But there's another feeling, and even if you wanted to, you can even close your eyes and say now, when you know that he's within your zone. But you don't have to do it that way. Just try it with each other, or I'll do it with you, and you do it with each other there. You can do one or two hands, it doesn't really matter. Animals should pick it up too, really.
yeah.
Okay, ready?
Good.
Go! Oh, considerable. Do you want to do it too, Denise?
This one.
Do you feel like
it's
that?
fine. No,
It's
I
more on
did
my
it
right hand.
before.
Yeah. So, keeping that in mind, there's a huge, lots of things that revolve around this, not evolve. So the next one is, in theory, you can heal and you can hurt with this energy. So there are some healers overseas that they touch you and you see them jump or get a shock, and they're like, oh, and the pain's gone. And there's one guy in the Philippines, I think, who's the best in the world. And there's videos online about him, and he would never let himself get filmed until just recently. And patients come in, and they're like got sore knees and stuff, and he goes like this, touches their knee, and they get a shock of electricity, and they're like, it's gone. The pain is gone.
I was in Montreal 15 years ago. Was a guy came for 1 month. It was like $120 for 5 minutes. But the guy, so I was with my back, and I felt the heat. He was just going with the hands. I felt the heat, and that was okay. 5 minutes.
I think a lot of people abuse this, but I do believe there are people who can do it.
Yeah.
You see like the martial arts guys, and they go like this, and people come up to them and they touch them and they all go flying.
Yeah.
That's just bullshit.
99.9% of them is bullshit. But, having said that, I do believe there's the odd person who's truly mastered it and can do it. But they're few and far between, and if they could, I'm not so sure they would be quick to
Show that people
publicize it. It seems very bad.
I
think
remember
the
watching
government
one
grabbed
on
it pretty quick.
Discovery Channel years ago. It was a guy out of China. He said he was able to control his flow of energy. They made the wooden frames and put thin A4 paper in it
Okay.
and set them so they weren't over anything. So they just kind of put them on the edges or something.
Okay.
He was able to walk across 25 of them without going through one. And they had a thermometer and they touched his hands because he was like one of the healers.
What were they suspended on?
The paper was just in a little wooden like picture frame, but he was
Really?
able, like the guy who was running the show went over the finger and went like that and went straight through.
And this guy could walk.
This
on
guy
it.
could walk across it, but they had a thermometer at one point during the show, and he was rubbing his hands together with a piece of fabric in it to heat it up for a healing thing.
Yeah.
And his hands got, they're white hot with the heat he was generating just so by going like this.
Same with some people can actually light like LED light bulb from their hands, like
Yeah.
just the energy from their hands. They can turn the light bulbs on and
Yeah.
stuff.
But I have a video of a guy who, and you might have seen it. I'm not sure if it's related, but probably it is. He stuffs his mouth full of sawdust, and he lights it on fire by blowing through it. Out. He breathes out. So he breathes in through his nose, out through his mouth, and it catches fire. And then it burns from the middle out, and he's got his mouth open as far as he can. And there's unburnt sawdust over on the outside and burning hot red embers all the way around the inside. And when he blows out, it's like, you can see it. Maybe that's something else. I don't know. So anyway, along with that, there's the practice of throwing a ball. So this energy exists in energy, and you can move it and transfer it and picture it as photons, I guess, if you want to be scientific about it. But photons on another wavelength that's outside of our view. So one of the things I was first taught was to make an energy ball about the size of a hard ball and throw it, and it would kind of float across, and you catch it in his hand and throw it back. And then you'd almost feel it, and it's in your head. But at this point, it's, some people would call occult right away, because, you know, there's obviously weird, this is
Stuff
weird.
going on,
It's a
yeah.
little weird, right? So that's one practice of it. The other one is a healing. So the healing side of it is, if you had a sore knee, I could heal it by, say, pointing two fingers at it, and I create an outlet too, like away from another person. But you could transfer it to another person. So I would imagine in my mind the light or the photons of your energy coming in a beam into this finger, going through me and back out this finger. And I've known people who could transfer a pain in your knee, it would be gone, and she would get it. I know somebody in this province that could do that very well. And or you just point it to the sky, and it dissipates the energy to nowhere, just to heal, and it's gone. And it's easy to practice. I know you can't see it, but if you have faith that it's happening, or if you have pain yourself, you can blow it out like a light in your head. Once I explain all this to you, you guys can take it or leave it, because it might be whatever. I don't want to cross the boundaries of the occult thing, because I don't go there. So that's one. Happiness, moods is another one. You've heard of psychic vampires, especially you.
Psychic vampire.
Psychic vampires. They
Suck the energy.
suck the energy right out of you.
Wow. Heard about
Yes.
energy vampires. Yeah.
There might be a more clinical term, but I'm not sure what it is.
We know
No,
what you
but
meant.
there are people, they don't want to do it,
Yeah.
but they are sucking the energy from
Yeah.
You literally suck the
Yep.
energy out of the room.
Yep.
That's it, right? Everyone's happy and in a light mood, and this
They
one
just show
person
up.
comes in.
And I kind of
Yeah.
met some,
Yeah,
yeah.
but the opposite could be true. Maybe the room is quiet and kind of gloomy, and then that when the right person comes in and everyone cheers up. So it works both ways. And I can't say what's happening exactly. Might only be psychological, but a lot of people would say it's the energy thing, literally transferring. So if you had and as far as auras go, like bad moods have dark colors in your auras. Pain is red, happiness is yellow. If you have occultic abilities, it's dark blue or purple. By the way, David Copperfield is covered in dark blue. And a lot of other magicians have nothing. It's all slightly negative. What else? Okay, so let's say let's go with a dark mood. So you're in a bad mood, you could do the same thing. Instead of pain, it's a what's that?
That was your phone?
Nope, computer.
Computer.
This all falls under manipulation of energy. If someone's dying, you can ease their last moments, taking pain and redirecting it away. What else? If they have no energy, you might be able to pull energy in or sacrifice your own energy to give to them to help keep them pumped up. And there's one more. What was it? Now I'm forgetting it. And this will hardly ever come up again because I don't want to talk about it. And the same with Kujian, because it will probably start back in Kujian, and there's a lot of mysticism behind that one too, like people think it's magic or black magic. And it's very scientific. I love Tony Robbins, and he uses it all the time. Except for he doesn't use the same hand positions that we use, but he does use hand positions. So when we get into that, we'll talk about what's actually happening according to Tony Robbins, how he explains. But he doesn't have a psychology degree, but it's the same terminology that psychologists use. So, and stuff like that. As far as energy goes, I think back in the day, I remember when I was really young and I was starting to learn about this stuff, I was told that way back in old times, the ninja would be able to see pain in different parts of your body and they would attack it on purpose before they've even touched you. They were like really adept at seeing that aura. So if you had a sore knee, they would definitely kick the knee on purpose. You know.
See, that's a good tech or good skill to have.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
You've got a broken rib.
Right into the rib. Yeah.
Break it.
And a lot of it has to do with, see, there's the scientific side of it. A lot of it does have to do with how we carry ourselves and how we move. Someone does have a sore knee, you can kind of tell sometimes. What's that other magician? Chris Angel. He has done tricks where he would tell people exactly what kind of underwear they're wearing. And he was always right. And he says and then he went on to explain how he did it. And what he did was he would watch them for 5 minutes or so first. And there's telltale signs in their body movement and things. It started almost getting to the hypnosis side of reading people. And he was right. Always right. Which was amazing. And he explained what he did. He'd look for matching ensemble things of someone like polka dots or stripes and his favorite colors or favorite Disney characters and just kind of put things together and make it a guess. And it's almost always right. His guesses were almost always right. He said once in a while it's wrong, but they just cut that out before it goes to air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sure there's something else I'm missing there.
I sure did.
Is loved or I shared it.
Healing, hurting, feeling, and moving. I think we covered all of that. You can heal, hurt, feel, move. And then after today, if you never want to use it again, don't use it again. I could care less. But as long as I explained it and I can check it off on my own book, I'm done. So there, I'm done that. Some people don't want to know about it, don't care, don't believe it. And then some people sometimes go too far the other way. When I was 17, the book was upstairs. I wrote a book about it too. When I was about 17, I started getting really heavy into these strange things that the Nietzsche used to do. And I took it way too far. Went overboard. Yeah. I talk about it in the book. What happened.
I watched your video about that the other night.
About the book? Did I show the cover or anything? Yeah. Yeah, there. That's weird. There you go. Did it have a snake on the front and a woman? Yeah.
At the,
Personal
Belt
struggles.
python. What's that?
The video was personal struggles, I think it was, or
Maybe.
so I forget the
Yeah.
exact title, but I watched that last night or the night before.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know what, and it was with my cousin. We did a lot with my cousin, the same when it comes to class too. So the only problem is I snapped out of it, and he kept going. It got worse and worse and worse. And then he, if you know what the book of Croatia is, I think that's how it's pronounced. Anyone hear this before? The book of Croatia. It's a book that was put out. It's heavily related to the Church of Satan, and it's a list of spells to bring up demons, specific demons. And you draw the pentagram on the ground and all that stuff, and it would trap them inside, and then you give them commands, and they would go. But anyway, the spell is how to bring them up, how to bring them into the art world, and he would use it a lot.
apparently it never worked.
I beg to differ to a point. It did work in some cases, in some things, but if it was like go kill so and so, no, it wouldn't work. But there's Anton LaVey is the head of the Church of Satan, was the head of the Church of Satan, and if anyone knows Aleister Crowley from
The song.
yeah, that's a real guy.
Yeah, I've looked into that.
Yeah. He's been known to walk into, well, Chris Angel did the same thing. He walked into a restaurant and froze everyone in their room, and would get on the tables, dance, and then get out, and they would all go back to normal, and none of them would remember he was even there. And Chris Angel did very similar things, but there's a degree of hypnosis, which is fine. There's a degree of sleight of hand, which is fine. But if there's an element of demonic involvement, that's not fine. That is bad. What's that old saying? There's no honor among thieves. So that it kind of relates. You can call on demons all you want, but why
Good back.
take the chance? Because they'll turn on you as soon as they get a chance, kind of thing. Yeah. But it's the same as anything. You could take something to extremes, or take something too far. In this case, it was easier. Yeah, I remember some very bad things. Yeah, but fortunately though, I grew up in the church, so I had a good grounding. And when I was around 17, I just kind of started to explore and go outside of my comfort zone. And then I was told by something to kill a priest. And that's when I wait a second. Yeah. That's when I said no. Yeah. And the odd thing was, I was able to. I had a lot of friends wanting to know how to meditate and stuff. Did I talk about that in the video? I would teach people how to meditate, and they would be able to do things way better than me. But they were like a medium, a channel, and almost to the point where I'd be jealous. Like I could get them into a trance, way deeper than I could put myself into a trance, and then I could guide them and make them do things. But I couldn't do it myself. It's weird. Yeah, and I never did anything dangerous, but I would do things like make them go into different houses and stuff and wake up there, and then they'd freak out because why am I in this house? Stuff like that. But, little things. I meant to say, there's a guy in Buktush, because I had said this guy in New Brunswick. This guy in Poctush, and he's still there, and I know exactly where he lives if anyone were interested, but I don't necessarily recommend it. One class, back when I was a kid, my teacher took us to see him, and we were doing the manipulation of energy thing. And we were sitting around this big table, and he could, if I was the guy, he could go like this and reach inside of your body. Go like this and grab your spine and pull, and you could feel your spine be pulled. It was that good. Then he could match your breathing and control your breath. And if he held his breath, you'd hold your breath. And you couldn't, like he could suffocate you from not even touching, which was weird. It's weird. And he could read auras really well. He's a fortune teller by trade. That's what he does for a living. He's a fortune teller. Denise.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, he's trying to
I don't
get
think
out.
he'll make it. but
No.
He's trying awfully hard. Anyway, like, yeah, it's just some of these things you don't want to play with. But it's good to be aware of them. Like, you know.
Yeah, the few Kuji I know of work quite handy, especially for
Yeah.
passing time if you're bored.
Yeah. If you do it right.
Yeah.
That's yeah,
Sitting at
to
the
take
hospital
them
for
too
5
far.
hours is quite handy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to hear about it actually sometime, if it's worth telling. But if it's just, well, 5 hours, get trimmed down.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Sit there waiting for the wife's turn to go in.
Okay, yeah. We'll get into that more.
Because I don't like using my data if I don't have to.
That's right. You've mentioned. Yeah. So I think next Saturday, probably, no, it will not be July, August yet. We'll start, I think we'll start Kuchi. I've already started tonight before people started showing up, but just barely. I'm writing it down and making a plan, lesson plan and stuff like that. Like, I think I've only done 1 hour. That's it. There's a lot more.
What's this
I
one?
know a few.
What's Kujin? There's 9 basic ones, and then there's at least 220 more. They say over 220, but then there's a reverse of all those. Kujin is a symbol that you hold, like this one.
This one?
It's like a mudra, or a what did the East Indians call this?
A mantra? But
Mantra is what you say, and there are mantras that can go with it.
The Buddhists use the mantras.
Yeah, and the mudra is the motion. So the kujian is like a symbol that you hold. So this would be like a kujian. But then the kujikiri are cutting signs. So you do like,
9-way cut.
yeah. So they're like symbolic. And by themselves, they're absolutely useless. They do nothing. But on the psychological side of it, you're creating a bond between this particular sign and a result. And it works very well. And psychologists have been using it for a long time. Tony Robbins uses it all the time. So you just pick a result. In these cases, like when I do, like say when I do this one has a very particular meaning, but it could be any meaning to anybody. You can make it whatever you want. But it's supposed to have a certain meaning. There's been a meaning by the Japanese assigned to it. And you use it for that. Or like this one that he was talking about, this is mastery of time and space. So when you do this, you're able to subconsciously speed up and slow down time. Now it's not really speeding up or slowing down.
It's just trancing you.
It's just your perception of it, and it's like a trance-ish. That's an example. Like Connor had mentioned that he wanted to tackle a specific thing that he has an issue with, and he was curious about the Kujin, and it would definitely help. So I think you should come to the next class if you can talk him into it. Or I'll say something too. But if he's in his girlfriend's stage, you know.
He said he was helping his dad build his garage.
Oh, yeah,
He
okay.
said today, I don't.
That's okay. Yeah.
But I should let him know that you're getting to that though. You're probably going to
For the rest of this month and at least all of next month, we'll.
Yeah,
and I'll try and pack in as much as I can, as fast as I can. There's so much material, I'm trying to find new ways of speeding through material really fast, because there's decades and decades and decades of knowledge that I'm trying to funnel through a tiny hole. I was talking to another teacher, and he's like, that's part of the struggle of being a teacher, is you have
Pick the important pieces and try to shove it
that
down
too.
through.
You got 30 years of experience, or someone who does it all day. If you don't have a normal job, you do this all day, and then you have students that come for a couple hours a week. You have to transmit weeks of knowledge into hours, and you're like, how? You gotta pick the best, the most important, or shrink everything down, take useless, just and get it through, which is hard. It's really hard. And you're picking and choosing, like, I don't have time for that, I can't do this today, and it's not as easy as it sounds sometimes. But otherwise, that's it.
And then every Monday you start fresh.
Pretty much. Although, like, say if it was only you two or something, and we've already covered your material, I'd
Go on.
skip it, yeah, which is good. I'm almost thinking of, see, the problem with starting fresh is now I gotta rehash things. And I'm almost thinking of maybe we can assign people to specific levels or something. I don't know, and maybe change them once in a while so I don't get bored. So like if white belts came in brand new, maybe you take them exclusively or something, or I don't know. It's just an idea.
Break it up a little.
Yeah, and then it relieves, because like I said, I'm trying to funnel so much information, and then I got to go and refunnel the same information again and again and again to people that come through the doors for the first time, which is okay. I don't mind it, but sometimes I get a little bored of it. It's good to pass it off. You guys know what you're talking about, so yeah.
We know just enough to be beyond nothing.
Or if you opened your own places someday, then I would send all the white guys to you, white belts, and say, go talk to them. And then I could start sliding up to higher levels and only teaching those, like Hatsumi's doing, that kind of thing. You get tired of doing the same things so much, I guess.
I don't think I've ever seen a white belt in one of the videos.
I don't know if I have either.
A few greens.
Yeah.
And they're rare. It's never a white.
And greens are welcome, but it's pointless. Well, no, I wouldn't say it's pointless. Because Hatsumi focuses on 15th Dan level, mostly nowadays. But he has recently encouraged green belts and everybody to start to come. He said, come, because even though you're going to see a 15th Dan level technique, there's still something for you in there. It's just you're not going to get exactly the same thing. You're going to get basic or elementary or wherever you're at in your levels. You know, everyone gets something different. This picture?
That was one before it.
Oh, that was pretty funny too, though.
Yeah.
Dead Pakistanis here on your couch. Why is there a dead Pakistani on my couch?
Yeah, that's what I was like. That kind of went with it. That picture kind of went with that.
And then there's the picture of a Facebook. Is it on here?
I don't know.
So why is Facebook turned into my girlfriend?
What's on your mind?
That's it. It says, what's on your mind? Where are you? Who are you with?
Yeah.
Like, when did she turn into my girlfriend? Oh, I think these are randomized, so chances are I won't come across it. Yeah. That energy thing that we talked about, I hate talking about that. It's not my strong suit anyway. People are really good at it. I'm not good at it, so. And I don't use it much anymore. When I was younger, I did, but I had to teach it, so there. Stop. Kujin is exciting. It can be dangerous too, but it's exciting. It's fun. When people start talking about the mystical, this will do this and make it disappear, you've taken it too far. If someone says, "Can ninjas really disappear?" What do you say? Because on one hand, the ninja wanted people to think they could disappear. On the other hand,
Do you
you
see
don't want to
any?
look stupid.
Well, the simple answer is, do you see any? They disappeared.
That's right. Or the annual ninja parade and there's nobody on the street. Or the annual ninja banquet and there's nobody there in the seats. You know. Or that one that says there are 5 ninjas in this picture and it's just an empty room. Ah, good stuff. Yeah.
I was reading
That'll make money on your spoon.
I was going through the store page in the one book for how to make ninja weapons.
Yeah.
You click on it, you go to Amazon, there's nothing. It's not available whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah. But if you read the reviews underneath, one guy says, "You're a fucking idiot if you try to use this. This could get you killed or severely injured or arrested."
I can read
And he said, "If you really want to, this book is designed for those who are socially isolated or fat and lazy and don't want to go look for an actual ninjutsu school like Bujinkan, Jimbukan."
I actually have the book here, too.
But it was going through, and they said, like other people were saying, "Oh yeah, great book," and this one guy was ripping it apart, and he mentioned all the 3 ninja schools.
Yeah.
He said, "Go save your money and go find an actual master that can teach you first
Yeah.
before you cut yourself."
I have the book digitally, and I'll give it to people if they want it. But honestly, when I was young, I loved this book. But now that I have better experience, I would never touch it. It's okay. It teaches you how to build like pretty good weapons, and they're pretty accurate. But it's very it just comes off really cheesy.
Well, that's what he said. He
And
said
kiddish.
it was very much based off of the '80s fad for ninjas and what they seen in the Hollywood type
Yeah.
videos.
And pretty much that's right. If that's all you have, it's not bad. They're, like I said, the measurements of things are pretty accurate, but the pictures of the ninjas and stuff look terrible, and there's better information out there if you have access to it. If not, that's fine, I guess. It's okay.
Yeah, it's funny if you read the description of the book. It said the Koga ninjas went on a spiel about them and donning the black uniform to be ninjas. Like, well, that's wrong right there.
Which part?
The donning of the
Oh, yeah.
black uniforms.
Yeah.
It's like they were farmers. They're going to go
Primarily.
and
Yeah.
primarily pretend they're farmers wherever they go, or merchants, or
It's very contextual, whatever it is, wherever you are, whatever you need to do.
So it was very much a push for the big fad of the '80s.
Yeah. That whole black thing came about from kabuki actors. You see in Japan, and you still see them sometimes today. You ever see the old, there's a video of 2 guys playing ping pong, and they're like, and it's like fake, and the table
Yeah,
turns.
I've seen it. They go upside down. This and this.
That's, you see guys in the background wearing black, that's like kabuki. So back in the day, they would do plays with guys wearing all black,
The
so you
black
couldn't
box.
see them, and they would
Okay.
manipulate objects and stuff. And that's where the idea came from. One of these farmer ninjas like, that's not a bad idea. So he took it. But originally it was a kabuki actor thing, and he would only use it under the context of darkness, but anything else he couldn't just wear it because it wouldn't make sense,
Yeah.
right? You'd have to dress like a farmer if you were on a farm. You'd have to dress like a politician if you were in the whatever they call it in Japan. You know, all that stuff. You had to play the part. If you were going to be a carpenter, you had to look like a carpenter. Yeah, it's very true. Yeah. But I do have the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought it was funny that all these people who knew nothing about ninjutsu at the time when they bought it said, "Oh, it's a great book, 5 stars." This one guy that had even a slightly clue put like half a star.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, they're fairly accurate, but you're going to kill yourself if you try to use them."
It's very, the measurements are almost right, but it's very crude. Like they miss, there's no safety instructions, it would never pass Canadian Standards Association anything. Like, no, no, do not publish this book for government use or something. Yeah. But, yeah. It's kind of funny. It's cool. It could work if you can't find the better information somewhere. But
You decided what you're gonna mount your blade to?
nope, not entirely. I'll probably go with a pole, the same. Guys, relax. This one scratches so much he has a whole wound on the back.
That's something, yeah.
You might have an allergy.
It's what?
It's not a wound. It's
Oh, a scab like
It's just a
Yeah.
scab.
yeah.
There's one day it was pretty open.
Yeah.
Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
He's scratching it.
It's good if he's scratching it. That means it's healing.
Yeah, because it's itchy. Yeah.
If it's itchy, that means it's healing. So
Yep. Well, what can I say? You have improved.